A pension fund representative slides a set of documents across the table. The number inside is $60 million. Their team has spent 142 days examining your holding company. You are 56 years old. The businesses under your control represent more than $510 million in assets. But the people across the table are not impressed by size alone. They want to know how you use debt, how you protect cash flow, what happens when a major customer leaves, and whether your team tells you the truth when you are wrong. 3 decades earlier, no institution would have trusted you with $60 million. At 22, you are an audit assistant earning $54,000 a year. You own no business. You have no acquisition record, and nobody in banking knows your name. All you have is $41,000 you will spend 3 years saving from your first job. That money is barely enough to enter your first deal. It is also where the entire capital structure begins. Level 1. The capital from your first job. 22 years old, fresh out of college. You join a regional accounting firm as an audit assistant, $54,000 a year. The partner training you is Frank Delgado, 26 years in audit, half his client list made up of small, family-owned service businesses. Your days are invoices, payment traces, bank reconciliations, and asking owners why some number moved year over year, 3 years in that seat. By 25, you've saved $41,000. One of the last clients you audit alongside Frank is a commercial cleaning company, 28 years in business. Owner's name is Ray Kowalski, 62 years old, about $190,000 a year in profit. He's told Frank more than once he's ready to retire. After one audit wraps, Frank closes the file, puts a hand on your shoulder. If you had the money, Ray's deal is the kind you take with your eyes closed. You start researching small business acquisitions at night. For this deal, the lender requires you to put in at least 10% of the purchase price as equity. Your $41,000 puts you right at that line. You call Ray, ask him to grab coffee. He says yes. Level 2. The first acquisition and the personal guarantee. At 25, you apply for a $480,000 SBA 7A acquisition loan, 9.75% interest, 10-year term. The credit officer is Denise Okafor, direct from the first meeting. I've seen too many people think buying a business means buying equipment, she tells you. You need to understand you're buying the customer relationships Ray spent 28 years building. 97 days to get approved. Denise kicks the application back 3 separate times for more documents. Updated financials, clearer retention data, a stronger cash flow forecast. The final loan papers include an unlimited personal guarantee. You also sign a second position lien on the apartment your parents helped you buy. Ray kicks in another $127,000 through seller financing. Under the structure approved for this transaction, his note has to sit on standby for the first 2 years. He can't touch a dollar of it until then. At first, Ray doesn't get why he has to wait. You explain it on a call. He asks again. You explain it again. Finally, all right, I trust you. Just don't make me wait long enough to get sick. The deal closes. Next morning, the crews go out on schedule, and the loan payment is officially yours to make. Level 3. The holding company and the first covenant breach. The holding company is registered when you're 28. That same year, you acquire a landscaping business from Richard and Linda Chen, a retired couple, 19 years running the place. Purchase price, $532,000. The bank gives you a $350,000 commercial credit facility. Comes with financial covenants attached. At 30, the landscaping company loses a major client. A supermarket chain moves its property maintenance contract to a competitor. That account was 22% of revenue. Quarterly EBITDA drops 18% year over year. That triggers a covenant breach. You spend the night building a recovery plan, rebuild the forecast, list every contract still standing, estimate how fast you can replace the lost revenue. Next day, you're across the table from Tom Reyes, the bank's commercial lending manager. He reads the plan page by page, asks what happens if the recovery's slower than projected. You walk him through the cash schedule. Long silence. I'll give you one waiver, but for the next 6 months, you sit across from me every month. You take it. 6 months, updated numbers every single month. Level 4. 5 companies and 1 bad acquisition. By 32, 5 operating subsidiaries sit under your holding company. Tom calls you personally this time. The banks reclassified you as a relationship client. Credit line jumps to 2.2 million. Rate drops to 6.4%. When I gave you that waiver, Tom says, I didn't think you'd make it this far. Same year, your M&A broker brings you a regional distribution company owned by Marcus Weber, 58, 3 generations in his family. Company earns $160,000 a year. Marcus wants $920,000, 5.75 times EBITDA. Feels high to you. His broker insists the customer base is rock solid. Your new analyst, Priya Menon, 25, recently out of the audit world, runs the financial review. Going through the receivables, she keeps hitting the same name, Midwest Warehousing Group. She totals it up. 43% of company revenue sitting on one account. You ask Marcus about it. He says the relationship's over 10 years old. Renewal's not going to be an issue. Priya asks for the contract. Marcus's team stalls 2 weeks. She follows up twice. When it finally lands, 14 months left on the term. No automatic renewal clause anywhere in it. You sit down with Marcus face to face. I've known their purchasing director for 20 years, he says. You don't need to worry about this. You close the deal anyway. 4 months later, Midwest Warehousing announces they're moving the contract. A bigger logistics company's undercutting on freight costs. The purchasing director, Marcus knew, left 3 months before the contract even expired. His replacements never heard of Marcus. Revenue craters. The business starts missing every forecast. You lose close to $380,000. Takes 14 months to stabilize. You and Priya go visit every single customer left. The 57% of revenue that's still standing. Review pricing, hear out the concerns, ask for longer commitments. One by one, you re-sign them to 3-year deals. Once it's stabilized, you promote Priya to head of due diligence. You were right, you tell her. I didn't listen. That's on me, not you. You add 1 line to the acquisition checklist for good. Any target where one customer's over 25% of revenue. Get the original contract. Verify the expiration date. Verify the renewal terms. A seller's word doesn't count as documentation. Level 5. The leveraged buyout. At 38, you're chasing a regional food distributor, $2.8 million a year in profit. Seller wants $15.4 million. A private equity firm, Meridian Capital, proposes a joint acquisition. Sarah Lindquist's leading the deal on their end, 3 layers to the capital stack. The bank puts up $6.8 million in senior debt, secured with a first priority lien on every asset the target owns. A middle market fund kicks in $3.1 million in mezzanine debt, 13% interest plus warrants. The remaining $5.5 million is equity. Meridian covers 85%, you cover the other 15%, around $825,000. Before anyone signs, Sarah brings you in to meet Meridian's risk partner, David Chen. He spends an entire afternoon walking you through the bad boy guarantee provisions. Under normal operations, no personal guarantee at all. But if fraud or misappropriation ever surfaces, the whole thing flips to fully recourse, instantly. This clause isn't here because we don't trust you, David says. It's here to protect the people who do. 3 years later, annual profits up to $3.5 million. The company sells at 6.8 times EBITDA, $23.8 million deal. Your personal cut, $2.9 million. At the closing celebration, Sarah tells you something you didn't expect. The distribution deal where you ignored Priya's warning. That was one of the reasons we decided to back you. You made a mistake, and you left evidence you'd changed. Level 6, 7 acquisitions and an asset-based credit line. At 43, you launch an industry roll-up to 7 repair service companies acquired over 3 years, supported by an asset-based revolving credit facility. James O'Reilly's your bank analyst on this. You've worked with him for years. Every month he reviews the borrowing base certificate with you, checking eligible receivables and aging schedules. At one subsidiary, receivable quality starts slipping, more invoices sliding into older aging buckets. James calls you a full week ahead of the numbers hitting. Your borrowing availability's coming down this month. Get your cash ready now. You move cash before the borrowing base ever tightens. Once all 7 companies are fully integrated, you sell the platform to a public company. Valuation, 8.6 times EBITDA. Total deal value, $79.12 million. Level 7. Institutional capital and the release of the lien. At 48, a private equity fund buys 65% of another platform you've built. Elizabeth Foster leads the due diligence team. 97 days combing through the debt structure, customer contracts, operating history, every prior acquisition. At the final meeting, Elizabeth closes a file and looks up. We spent an entire afternoon discussing the failed $920,000 acquisition from 16 years ago. It was one of the key reasons we decided to invest. The deal closes. You walk away with $42 million in liquidity. That second position lien on your apartment, the one you signed at 25, gets officially released. You photograph the release document, send it to Tom Reyes, retired now. He writes back, "It was time. You haven't been that 25-year-old kid in a long time." Level 8. The pension fund. At 56, your holding company manages over $510 million in assets. A state pension fund wraps 142 days of due diligence and allocates $60 million. Somewhere in that review, their team asks about the old distribution company. Who caught the concentration risk? Why the deal closed anyway? What changed afterward? Priya's your chief investment officer now. After the review wraps, she tells your team something that sticks. How we handled it mattered more to them than how much money we made afterward. Your finance team's got an interest rate hedging analyst now too, Noah Chen, trained under Priya. He uses interest rate swaps to lock in the cost on your floating rate debt. One day you tell him, "You learned that because I ignored Priya once and paid for it. The first deal cost you your savings, your signature, and a lien on your apartment. The later ones ran on senior debt, mezzanine debt, asset-based lending, institutional equity, interest rate swaps." But one line has never left the acquisition checklist. When a customer's over 25% of revenue, get the original contract, check the expiration date, check the renewal terms, don't rely on a promise.